Good morning, everybody. Matthew and I are here today at Time with Teepa. So, last week and over the past little bit, we've been talking about a little about what makes somebody skillful or an expert or a master at dementia care. And the answer for me is developing skill and then practicing until you have a lot more successes than you have failures. But that doesn't mean you don't have failures. It just means you avoid a lot of some of the simple things you can do that can result in a quote unquote failure to connect, failure to sort of get to that place where we can get to an agreement that both of us are satisfied with. There will always be those moments, if you ask me, but so our title was why would you hire a master carpenter? And for me, I recognize I have a job in front of me that is beyond my expertise. Okay. And I will tell you that having renovated multiple residents, having chosen to have a crafts background and a skill background in woodworking and in building and reconstructing and doing sets for stage productions and running and building scrim I've done a lot of different things with a lot of different tools. I also know where my limits are. I mean, I am not one you want for fine cabinetry work. I don't have the tolerance. I don't have the patience. It's just not my thing. However, there are people out there who do have those abilities. And if you are doing something that you believe will require something beyond your expertise, my recommendation is see what you can do to get the resources together to bring that person into your world, whether it's for a consult or whether it's for actual work. I don't know. Maybe you take a class with the master carpenter. But what makes them a master is years and years, classically, of working through really challenging situations, learning the basics. And what they know quite well is that you need a very deep toolbox with lots of various tools because you're going to run into a number of situations, and there's going to be so many special circumstances where you may only use this tool once in a blue moon, but you still want to have it because in those moments, it's super important to have that tool around for the job if you want a great outcome versus a 50-50 success rate. So Matthew, what you
Yeah.
thinking?
And Teepa, it's interesting that you mentioned like you'll even have a tool that you'll maybe only use once in every blue moon. And I've even seen like mechanics and I've seen carpenters and all that have tools they've created because they
Oh
ran
yeah.
into a situation where I mean, everywhere I've turned, I can't find something exactly for this. And they've
A
taken
jig.
and they got created and they created a tool
Yep.
specifically for whatever that thing was. But the situation called for that. There was no other tool out there. And they had to actually do it from that situation.
Yeah, and a skilled master carpenter who really loves to take on journeymen and apprentices. And they really do enjoy part of what they love is they love what they do, but they also love sharing what they do so that others can also learn from that and build their own skill sets, use some of the things that they developed. So it's like, oh, that's a great idea. I'm going to keep that one. And I had a second idea. Let me run this by you. And if you're really skilled at being a good intern, you start learning, I got this. Let me rehearse and practice this. Oh, I have a question for you. Take a look at this and see what you think, coach, because you see your master carpenter as someone who can help me pick the right tool, help me pick the right setup, help me figure out how does this jig work, what works, what doesn't. But here's the deal. A master carpenter is really also very skilled at knowing what materials to give someone when they're first practicing to avoid injury, to avoid damage, but to also not waste supplies when you're just learning or getting setting up. So why all this talk about carpentry? Well, I I feel that when you're trying to figure out how to work with somebody whose brain is actively in a state of change, and some of the change is neuroplasticity. Now, most of you probably didn't expect that to be the very next words out of my mouth. If you're familiar with dementia, you were thinking neurodegeneration. And yes, that's true. But what I'm more interested in is the neuroplasticity. How is the brain changing? Because when a brain doesn't have access to something, it will use what it does have access to. So I'm super curious about what am I noticing that the person is now doing? How are they changing? What have they modified? What is their interaction with the world around them, with the people around them, with the situation? So I'm doing a full on assessment of all my puzzle pieces and what's changing and what they're developing before I start going, I wonder if that's gone forever or just not useful right now. I wonder if they picked up the hammer because they saw the hammer first, or if they still have access to the drill, they just didn't think about the drill because they were thinking they had a nail. Ooh, they actually have a screw. Let me see what they choose to do. Do they want to, like, do I want to let them try that for a second? Or do I want to go, ooh, hey, Matthew, I have something for you. I want to show you something. And that's a decision on my part to show him the drill, to see what happens in his brain when he sees the drill versus the hammer. And then I go, now in this hand you have is that a nail or is that a screw?
Well, I mean, it looks like a nail, but it's got the it's got the riveting things on it. I don't think
Sort
it.
of
Yeah.
the thing on it. Yeah, that spiral thing. You know what? How about if you try this and see what happens? So we call those positive action starters. So I'm curious what Matthew's capacity is. What happened was he had an attention flaw. He was not attending to the details of the objects. He was interested in the interaction of the two objects, the hammer and the screw, and he hadn't really noticed in his left hand that he had a screw versus a nail. And so my, ooh, hey, Matthew, rather than, oh, Matthew, no, 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 what are you doing? Is the sign of a master at working with people living with dementia. And I guess, yes, I consider that mastery, to really take what's happening and rather than causing harm, create curiosity. Figure out what is possible in this moment. And if the person says, it's a friggin' nail, what's your problem, lady? Then I go, aha. So that is a nail. Now, do you want to use that size? Or I have another one that has less of the ridgy things on it. Do you want to try this one? This one might go in smoother. So once again, there is not a no, there's a yes and. And in theater terms, back in the day, we would call that yes and improv.
So Teepa, we've heard many people have seen you. You've come to places, you've done things, and
Yes.
they see how well you interact with every human being in their space.
Yeah.
And you come in,
Oh, yeah. So I get things like this. This
yes,
is like
award.
the Boosie Award for the state of North Carolina from the Division of Aging and Adult and Human Services, Health and Humans. I get an award because I'm so good at it. That's it,
Yeah.
right?
And
That's
you
what you're
just
going to say? No?
well, and you just go in and it's like, well, for some people they can just do it and it's
Yeah.
easy for them and they can do it the first time and it never ever goes wrong for them or it never takes multiple times. Okay, so I'm curious, Tipo, what are your thoughts on that?
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, I'm still learning. I may be really good at what I do, but the person on the other side of the equation, it's the first time I've interacted with them, maybe. It's the first time I've tried this with them, or they're in a unique situation in that moment. And so the best I can do is 50% of the interaction. I mean, no matter what I do, I'm 50%. I could be wonderful, but I'm still only 50%. So it's still has to be negotiated. So I think we're going to take a look at a video that was shot 20 years ago where I was asked to address a situation. We had a lady who had, oh, obviously a major problem with bowel product in a common area. Many staff had been trying to get her up and out of there to get cleaned up and changed before lunch. And it had been going on for quite some time. We had run an activity group. She had had a great time. She'd had banana pudding. She was having fun. She wasn't about to leave this place, even though the group was long over. She was curious. She liked being here. So they said, "Can you try?" Because they just made her mad, and she was planted. Okay. So this is me trying to address a lady who is hard of seeing, hard of hearing, and at this moment more in an amber state than anything else. So let's Emerald Amber. Let's take a listen and see how it goes for me.
Gladys, could you come help me a minute? I could use some help.
Maybe you could, but that's how come I don't do no more because I can't get her.
First refusal.
Tell you what, I'll bring you right back. Okay, but let's us go down the hall a little bit. I could really use some
Step
help.
one.
What's
Let's
gonna
go
be
down the hall.
there?
Well, let's go for a walk and we'll see what's out that way. Okay? Bring your legs back under you a little bit.
I don't want to go for my leg.
Yeah.
I'm ready to hurt.
I know. Lean forward a little bit. I'm going to give you a hand.
But I'm not going to go down there. I told you.
Yeah. I know you don't feel like going right now.
Second or third refusal.
Nothing to do to make me feel good.
Nothing
Well,
to
it's a
do.
little bit before lunch. I thought now would be a good time for us to go before we eat.
And I ate, but I don't.
You had some banana pudding a little bit ago.
Yeah,
Yeah.
third refusal.
It's water bottle and water now.
Uh-huh.
I think I washed it and hung it
Yeah.
up.
I've got your walker. Okay?
That walk,
Yeah, that's yours. Has your name on it.
I know it. But I hate it. I can't.
I know you do.
I can't hardly walk.
Well, let's see how
She
you
hates
do.
that
Show me
walk.
how you do with it.
Mm,
I know it's not easy. Show me how you use it.
Show me.
Yeah. You got it? Scoot up. That's it. Get your feet square. Are you there yet? You're close. All right. You ready? Okay, I'm going to give you a little boost. That's it. Ooh, all right. Let's go this way.
Okay, let's pause there. Wow. That was a lot of trying on my part.
And for you, Teepa, I'm curious, how often is it truly you go in, you do something, and the person just magically like, oh, Teepa, okay, yeah, and they do it? Or is it more like what we just saw here with Gladys, where it takes a little bit of finding out? It's not something that you just poof, it just happens because you're Teepa and you show up and you do it.
It's like figuring out I have to assess the situation. Now, sometimes I get super lucky, and on the very first try, the person is actually ready to do something. They just want to have somebody with them that's actually nice and curious and supportive. And on many hands, I mean, it takes me a while to get in there. Somebody's gotten somebody riled up, and then they ask me to come in. I've knelt near a doorway for 10 minutes just to get somebody to be willing to let me walk into their space. And I've had people say, I'm not doing anything, but you can give me some coffee. And it's like, okay, I go get the coffee. I come back. We spend and yes, I may spend extra time, but what I'm actually doing is figuring out how we can get things completed that the person clearly needs completed, but they don't get that they need completed because in that moment, I think the thing we miss the most is how much pain people get in when they live with dementia. And here's the thing about Gladys, she has severe rheumatoid and osteoarthritis in all her joints. So for Gladys, guess what? Getting up and moving is super painful. And the longer you sit, the worse it is. And if people pull or tug on you, well, that's even worse. But, for her, sitting still is sort of one of the things that doesn't hurt. But then again, proving that she's better than the average bear is something that makes her feel powerful and strong and, able. And so that's what I worked with in that case. But it took me a while to figure out what would get her going. And ultimately, I went down, helped her get cleaned up, helped her get changed. Got her, by the way, some Tylenol on board because she was so upset. Of course, she wasn't taking any medication, but we did get some. And then she came back up and had some lunch because I know she said she wasn't hungry, but that was because she really didn't want to get up. So overall, what are we saying? We're saying expertise is not some degree that you get, although I think checking awareness, knowledge, and skill is super important. Do you know what's in your toolbox? Do you know what tools to use when? Have you got a basic understanding? Have you got some skill? But then after that, mastery comes with rehearsal and practice. And that's why No, I don't live with dementia, so I don't have that kind of expertise, but I do support a lot of people, and I have over the course of 45 years. So I'd say my curiosity has always stayed strong, and my investment in relationship is there because, sometimes I have to make a new jig, um, and then I offer it up for others. So that's where pipes came from. That's where pause came from. That's where AELCs and coaching cycles and consulting cycles and the idea of a champion teacher and positive physical approach and positive action stars and positive personal connectors, visual, verbal, touch cueing. I mean, hand under hand, all of those techniques came because there weren't things out there that we were using. We were told to ask yes, no questions, which without an awareness of accuracy, to me, doesn't serve. And it also sets us up for frustration when we're not getting what we like with a bunch of no's. So, Matthew, there you go. We have a lot of resources and tools to make life a little better. Um, One of the tools I would consider if you're an individual is our new updated dementia care partner guide, because it has a lot of what we are talking about in it. Or maybe you would like a champion course, or maybe a care partner support series opportunity, or maybe you're ready to move into the idea of an apprenticeship or journeyman work. I don't know. Maybe it's a consult that you need with a master carpenter. I'm not sure what you might need. Or maybe you are a master carpenter and it would be fun to have an interaction just to sort of check out how we're going with what we're going with. And maybe you're in a situation where you'd like to sort of just take a break. It's like, that's a good idea as a master carpenter as well. Knowing when one more cut is likely to result in a bad outcome, or a master seams, I guess a master seamstress, I guess. I could always tell when I had reached my limit when I made the same mistake twice. It's like, okay, time to stop before this just goes sideways. Let's just pause here. I need to take a break. I need to focus somewhere else. I need to look at my own abilities and notice I'm done for right now. Let's go do something else. So, for all of you out there, celebrate what you can do and be curious about what's still out there. Think neuroplasticity, not just a generation or stand where you are, because we never do. Till next time, take care of with yourself and take care with your care. Bye, y'all.
Thank you, Teepa. Bye, everybody.